Recently, we took in a pair of anole lizards. These guys came to us a little bit emaciated, dehydrated, and all just not in the best shape, which is why today we are going to be building out them a bioactive plankton vivarium to give them a little slice of paradise as they go on their road of rehabilitation. So stick around while we build out this new enclosure and take a look at this reptile that is unfortunately always seen as a throwaway pet. Let's get into it. I know what some of you guys might be thinking. That's gonna be Dakota. What are you doing? A pair of anoles? This is the most random thing. Like, why are you taking in some anoles, man? What are you doing? The matter is, the green anole will always have a special place in my heart. I know. Every video now, it's frog. Why? Green anole will always have a special place in my heart due to the fact that it is one of the first reptiles I ever witnessed in the wild growing up as a kid. While I usually never take in rescues, especially when you're talking about a facility this big, the man that's standing in a basement, having this many reptiles, you never want to introduce something that could potentially have a biological hazard and risk everything. But for anoles, I did it. Now, after a brief quarantine period, these lizards are ready to go in their new home, but the home isn't built, so why don't we go over to Dakota over there and build this bad boy for these little dudes. And alrighty, boys and girls, this is what we are going to be working with. Same size as the one they're already in, the 12 by 12 by 18. The only really difference is the fact that that one's an Exoterra, while this one is a Zilla enclosure, which probably makes this actually a little bit worse. Since we will be doing a Project Jungle build for this, we'll take this slightly worse looking enclosure and make it 10 times better than the setup they are currently in, what they came into me with. Now, with all that being said, let's glove up and build ourselves a really awesome enclosure while I sweat profusely because we're working with about 70% humidity right now. Let's get into it. But actually what I'm going to be doing is whenever we moved those clems, one of them stuck itself so far into this corner right here that I had to rip it up, kind of destroying this thing. So I'm actually going to take this background out and redo it as well. Fun fact for those that you saw that episode, I actually ended up finding both of the clemeri, which was absolutely fantastic. A giant, let's just do a quick 360. This big of a place, plus it goes around the corner to find two geckos this size. I managed to find both of them. It was absolutely exciting. It took me a long time and multiple days, but I did get them. So we're going to do a background for this one and a background for this one at the same time, so we can set them both up at around the same time. Alrighty folks, after letting this thing fully dry and cure, we got the background on. It is looking absolutely fantastic. Now, we did have to kind of compromise with the space here. Unfortunately, although these 12 by 12s, 4 of them should equal 4 feet, they do not. I don't know how the measurements, someone messed up in the programming because 4 enclosures are bigger than a 4-foot shelf. It's either the enclosure company or the shelf company. I'm not trying to name names. We do have to put it on the side. If I tried to tilt it this way, the glass wouldn't be able to open, and it's fine. You still get the side view, and then you get this cool, like, front opening thing. It's quirky. It's cool. It's like Tumblr. I don't like it. I'm just coping. However, next up, we're going to be doing then the drainage layer, having a little screen in there, and then the substrate. Now, usually for the drainage layer, as you can see, well, I guess not that one, that was my first build. We usually do hydro balls. Hydro balls are a great lightweight material that is pretty readily to come by. We sell it over here. Unfortunately, my order is on back order. My shipment's on back order. So I don't have any for the next week, which is a bit of a bummer. So we're actually going to be using gravel for this one. We don't have to fill it up very much since the anoles aren't super tropical. It doesn't need to be 100% humidity, constantly missing this thing. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but it is going to be a bit of pain because obviously with gravel, it's going to make this weigh a lot more than if we would use just the clay balls. Right at the end of the day, the drainage layer only needs to serve one purpose, and that's having a separate layer from your substrate where that extra water, the excess water can then drain out for a spot to evaporate it. Whether it's clay balls, two giant stones pushed really close together, or like we're doing today, gravel, as long as it does the job I just stated, then, well, it's a successful drainage layer. There you have it, boys and girls. You have drainage, you have screen, and you have dirt. Substrate is a new little mixture, little concoction I'm working on. The DBCB Exotics Bioactive Jungle Mix Bio Matter. I gotta find a name for this thing. The second revision of this. I wanted to go a little bit different than what I have done. Obviously, I'm gonna product test it in a few enclosures first before I start shipping it out. It's gonna be a lighter substrate. It's gonna be able to drain a lot better. That is the one thing I've noticed with the 1.0 substrate as I've been doing this and kind of building and tinkering with the amount and portions that I'm using for my mixture, is the fact that it doesn't drain very well, which can be a good and bad thing. I don't really have to do much with these enclosures. I might water them like once a week to once every other week. It's somewhere in between that time frame. The problem is if you overwater, it doesn't drain very well, which means you're kind of gonna get into a problem. So I want to start making a little bit more of a user-friendly thing where if you do happen to overwater, well, it's not too bad because it is gonna be able to drain a lot quicker. Well, now it's time for my favorite part, the plant part. Take a little peek inside and see what we're working. What can we... Actually, I think with this new light... No, it still does that. I peruse my plants. Please enjoy the B-roll so you don't see just darkness this entire time. I think the game plan of what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be going with my marbled pothos. We're going to do pothos, wandering Jew. Should I do a Persian shield? Persian shield, I'm gonna go with the Persian shield. It's too pretty not to have one in my enclosure. Then I actually have been propagating some of my own philodendrons. So we have White Knight and Pink Princess. I'm gonna go with a Pink Princess because we have more of that, but those will actually become sale pretty soon. Me realizing once the build is done that there's actually a nasty glare and you can't see most of the process. Let me show you guys. So here is the build now. These sticks are from the previous enclosure and I like the way they had it, so it's stacked and then it was like that and that. Really nice marble pothos there. It looks so sad, but it will get better once it gets some water into it. It's a little dry. Purple Passion's going to be our centerpiece because it looks amazing. The Wandering Jew right there is going to start trailing up the background as it grows more and more, which is going to look awesome. And then our tiny little philodendron's just going to be chilling right there until it grows a little bigger. As always, like every other enclosure we have in here, we got the springtails. I got my little go cups now for the bioactive stuff, so I just have to sprinkle it in and then they're good to go. And then the pea scabers, the orange, powdered orange isopods. Finishing touch is just going to be one little air plant right there. Just put a pop of color up top until these plants start growing up and creating their own jungle of their own. This enclosure is done. I'm going to give it one quick miss, and then we can grab these anoles out of their really shabby enclosure and put them in this tropical little paradise that I've made in 20 minutes while almost suffering heat stroke from the humidity down here. Now, I gotta say, this enclosure is starting to look awesome. The only problem now is, why doesn't yours? The truth of the matter is, you guys can have an absolutely beautiful enclosures like all of the ones that are surrounding me simply by going to dakotablueexotics.com. Over there, you will find everything you'll need for a bioactive enclosure, including substrates, drainage layers, plants, other plants, air plants, cleanup crew, isopods. The list goes on, but only for a couple more because we are a startup company and don't have that much spot to do big inventory. The only way we'll get big there is if people buy, and that's where you come in, customer. Links down there in the description. Why don't you go on down and buy some? Okay then. Also real quick, because I know some of you guys have been asking me about the Clemorite. Now we did find both of them. I know, complete shocker. Gecko that is this big in a building that is this big. Absolutely insane. I'm so surprised that I caught not just one, but both of them already do up their enclosure. I didn't film it or anything. I just wanted to get it done and then get these geckos in a secure area where they will never try to escape again. But it looks really nice. I just used some of my plants that weren't doing that well. A couple of old ferns we had lying around, a purple passion, and then some spiked moss that kind of half died. Stuff that I'm not going to sell to people because it just doesn't look good, and it's just not a good thing to like put the product out there if it's like half dead. You know, I don't want to do that, but it's stuff I'll gladly use because I know it'll regrow inside the enclosure and eventually look good as new. But that is right, boys and girls. Now we have standing eye day gecko breeders and Clemeri day gecko breeders. Next thing I need is a female lineatus, and we'll have 3 day gecko projects going. Let's go check out those anoles. Well, no, I'm fine. I'm not. This is the first time I've actually been able to get a good look at them, because they're usually hiding, but now they're on the glass. These things look real rough. It should be fine. We should be able to rehab these things, no problem. I'm gonna get the male, because he's right here on the glass, and then we'll take the female out next. Oof, these things. Here is the male, looking absolutely beautiful. It's really cool how aware these guys are. It's all right, little dude. I catch tiny geckos. I'm not catching tiny lizards, so we are gonna keep a hold on you. But it's interesting how he's pretty chill. Like, you know, it's not like wigging out, spazzing. It's not trying to bite me. Things are pretty rad. All right, hombre, into your new home. Oh, he's so brown right now. Go on. No. There you go. Good enough. Okay, back over here. Now we get to find the female, and I see the female. Into a new home. It's better this way, young lady. Oof, you are looking rough, homie. So here is the gal. I've rehabbed worse, but these are pretty emaciated anoles. We'll get them back and going, but god dang, man. I don't know how people do it. Let's go put her in her new paradise. Young lady, go see your boyfriend. There you go. Actually, I think that one's the male. That one definitely is the male. I confused them. And there you got it, boys and girls. We have some new anoles in their new home. Obviously, throughout as time goes on, we'll be giving little updates on these guys, how they're doing, how they're rehabilitating, but so far, steps in the right direction. We got them in a brand new enclosure that looks absolutely fantastic. Next step is just putting food in them. And congratulations, that's how you rehabilitate reptiles. You should go open that reptile rescue. Oh, you don't need a 501(c)(3). Just be a rescue. It'll be fine. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I don't do this often. Do not hit my DMs with your leopard geckos, normal ball pythons, and bearded. I don't do this. Why did I take anoles? I don't know, because when I was a child, they would bask on my fence, and it was a childhood nostalgia thing where I'm like, screw it, I'll take a pair for free, and I'll get them back going. This is not me being like, I take on any neglected animal that people want to throw at me. Nope. If you guys want to check out all the other Project Jungle builds we have done, you can check out this playlist right here, or check out this video. I'm not sure what I'm going to put there, but I'm sure it's a good one. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time of your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you guys next time, but until then, goodbye.